Hey guys, this is Anon with a couple nice Patton replays for you today that I just wanted to share and chat about a little bit. The first one is in my M46 Patton on Copperfield, which I know we're not even supposed to be getting right now, but it is what it is. And this game I'm going to talk a lot about high ground. If you've played with me before, you know I preach fighting from high ground as much as possible, especially if you're in a tank with gun depression. And that's pretty much what's going to let me win this game. So, going to start flanking right off the bat, especially because they do have a couple mediums, and there's nothing worse than having your heavies sniped across the map. So I'm just really going to go do my job here to begin with. When we get this side of the map, I always like to set up on this house in kind of a side scraping position. Red mediums usually like to come up to these pipes, so it gives me a really good protected vantage point with this car to shoot and not take too much damage. I get spotted, so I'm worried it's across, but can see it's not, so now I know we do have mediums coming. And it's this Type 59 in Indian, and he does exactly what I thought he would and come directly up to the pipe, so it lets me get, a couple nice careful shots. Early in the game, obviously, you want to take as little damage as possible, so that's kind of my goal here. The Indian is sniping across like I don't want him to do, but with the Type 59 focused on me, I don't want to push too hard yet. As soon as he turns his gun to snipe, it's kind of game on. It means I need to move up and start shooting him. I'm trying to protect my heavies as much as I can, which I'm already concerned about. Looking at the minimap, I can see that they're really spread out on top, and several of them are being way, way too aggressive. So I'm already pretty sure at this point in the game that the heavies are not going to survive. Which is okay as long as we really hold the flank, but it means we need to kill these two tanks. So, again, I'm just taking my time taking these shots, still watching that map because I can see now that we're definitely going to lose one tank, and there he goes. So, we lost the IS-8. I can take out the Type 59. The Indian, I'm pretty sure is going to drop down, plus we have two tanks dealing with him, so I'm going to try and get a couple snipe shots in. There's now only two tanks left on the heavy side, and so there's no reason to go screaming back and save them because they're certainly not going to make it. I'm really setting up for kind of a late game defense, which is what it turns into. There goes our Indian screaming into them, which is ill-advised since we're already down one tank. Their Indian pops out, so I can get this nice easy kill and tie it up. Our Pershing then decides to, I mean, you can barely see him here on the map, but I know he's sitting out on this point trying to snipe, but he's extremely exposed and already taking shots. We're now down 3 to 4, 2 to 3, and they've got a lot of health left. I'm not even going to try to help this Pershing because he is sitting out extremely exposed. I stopped being able to get snipe shots, so it's time to move. Not going to be able to get that J Panther from there, but I see the VK Beta sitting, and I'm hoping he's going to step forward to get that Pershing, which he does. Now it's 1 versus 3. I know their 2Ds have quite a bit of health left. Luckily I can take care of the Beta pretty easily, and now I'm going to back up a little bit to try and first of all spot them. I know the J Panther 2 dropped down, but I'm pretty sure the Yag Tiger is still on the other side. So I just want to get to a defensible position using this high ground so I can have my gun depression. I'm going to be a pretty tough shot here. Also switch to APCR just because it's a 1 versus 2 situation with a lot of health. Just kind of peeking around corners. I want to see if they're going to set up and just try and snipe me, or if they're going to give a lot of problems. They start to push really hard, so I'm already now starting to think when I'm going to have to bail out, and unless they keep giving me these side shots, there's a good chance I need to run to the other side because it's much more defendable. It's much higher ground, and they just keep pushing and pushing. No more shots. This isn't a good angle. Ours actually had good recommendation there to move to the other side, but like I said, I was already thinking about it, so I'm gonna start booking it. And the other nice thing about switching to the other side is there's a good chance, being a runaway medium, that they're gonna try and cap. And this other side of the map, when you're alone, is probably the most defendable spot you could have because of that gun depression. You're really hard to shoot pointed up. I also heal my tracks real quick, or repair my tracks real quick, because I want that extra speed. My only concern switching is that I'll get shot in the back. But by peeking back, I could see they weren't really giving chase, which also leads me to believe that they're probably going to go down and cap, which is the best case situation for me. Turn around and peek just to make sure, but there goes cap starting to run, and there are just so many great angles that you can flip around to on Copperfield here at the top to get shots down. Right now I just want to know which way they're facing and see if I'm going to have easy shots. They're facing up, but easy shot in the J Panther. Now they know where I am too, but still, it's so defendable here, and even though the Patton doesn't have a ton of armor, a lot could bounce off the top of my turret. I'm going for the top of his hole there. Should be able to get it. Makes a mistake by turning. Missed the shot, but still, I like the situation. That Yag Tiger has no chance of hitting me there, so I'm not concerned at this point. Just trying to get the J Panther. Nice shot. So now I'm starting to get a little concerned with time, but not much. I've got a minute left. He's made the mistake of coming out so far forward that I can dive down on him. Worst case scenario is he hits my tracks like he does, but I have the heal, so I hit it instantly. He does a really good job actually of scraping me off, but because of the grade of that hill, he's not going to be able to do it completely. He's also turned enough where it's hard for me to get a shot, but I have enough health now that I'm not concerned about it, and so I can back off and get that final kill shot. Probably wasted some APCR at the end, but when you're going for the Kublanovs, it's just nice peace of mind. I'm trying to save the team at that point. So, nice mastery game. Some good extra credits there. I actually had quite a bit of health left at the end, but you can see we're really working that high ground and using my gun depression, not only to save health, but paying attention to what's going on and knowing when you need to kind of bug out to the other side was pretty helpful. Switching over to my M48 on mines now, have some really nice competition on the other side to obviously fantastic players, but we do have the medium advantage, which is pretty fantastic. I also have had a couple games in a row with that STB1 platoon on the other side, and even though they're in kind of a fail tune, I know that STB1 is actually a pretty decent player. He's helped me in a couple games in a row, so I know that we have a pretty good chance at taking Hill, which, of course, will follow the meta and do that. This game's slightly less about high ground, even though I use it for most of the game. It just is kind of a good game, and actually the M48 Mastery has been eluding me. I'm not really sure why. I've had a lot of good games in it, but never quite been able to do it. So since it's my first one, I decided it'd just be kind of fun to share anyway. Alright, since the mediums they do have are pushing pretty hard, and we do have some of that uni platoon working up, I stay on this side unless the STB work to the other side. Get some nice easy shots on the E100, although RNG right there, I have no clue where that shell went at all. Just kind of part of the game, so it happens. He is YOLOing up really, really hard. He does get a good shot, but he's probably not going to last. That 140 also seems to be YOLOing up, but he's going to give me a lot of problems later on in the game, so I wish we could have killed him early. Otherwise, this is turning into kind of what you would expect from a game like this. A lot of red up around cap, sneaking our shots in where we can. The bounces you get sometimes from this Patton drive me crazy. Alright, Nuke pushes up with the IS-7, which is a good call, especially because he can really protect his hole right here. So luckily I've got some help. The 183 also pushing, which is a lot scarier. That's why I switched to heat. We don't want to take a shell from that. And so he goes down. Rifleist keeps pushing us really hard, and the STB is getting low on health, so I'm going to keep shooting heat just because this would take out two really big guns. Not worried about cap at this point, it's too early, we've got a lot of guys left. I'm trying to take a shell now for the STB. I've got so much health, and I'd like to keep that extra gun in the game, so it works out great. Narrowly missed the T95 shot, which is good. Now I'm switching back over, because somehow that E100 is still alive. Finally goes down. Still have this 140 over here, but not good shots on him. I remember the T95 is back behind, and the T30 is the only other tank we don't know where he is at the moment, although he did just light up on the radar over by spawn 1. Haven't had a chance to look at him, so I don't know if he's AFK or not. It's not worth the risk. Get rid of this big T95 gun. Although he's being pesky and getting a lot of bounces from guys. Kind of sneak a shell in there. Now I want to... That 140 is running around, so it'd be nice to go check on this T30. And since the T30 kills one of our guys, I know he's not AFK. I see the 140 sneaking up behind. Here is a mistake I make in the game. I should have turned around to go help that STP-1. Which I finally start to do now. I realized it a little bit late. It would have been nice if he'd have yelled for help so I could have known. But since he didn't, I'm just trying to help now. I'm pretty sure he's not going to make it, but I'm hoping the 140 stays up here. Because I have so much health, and with heat loaded, I know I can kill him quickly. And then go back to the T30, which from this high ground wouldn't be too bad. Unfortunately, the 140 makes the right move and drops back down. So now I have two tanks, I'm not really sure where they are. I figure the 140 is going back to try and flank me. So I flip around to take a look at him. And don't see him, so now I'm starting to look back for that T30, because I figure, I know he's been camping all game, but he's gotta, now that it's 2-on-1, start thinking about coming up. Which he does. Unfortunately, that would have been better with an APCR shell, that his tracks eat the heat, and now the 140 shows up. So the good news is I know where they are. The bad is that 140 has kind of a good angle on me, and I take a couple shells here. It's definitely tough going at the end. Here I lose, way too much of my health, but yeah, sometimes it just goes that way, especially in a Patton that, really doesn't have a ton of armor. I'd rather actually be brawling, but with the T30 out there, I can't, so it's going to be harder to try and eat some shells. Go back to check on the T30, just because I know where the 140 is, because he stays capping, so it's going to let me know where he kind of stays. If he rolls off cap, I'll know that I need to watch my flank. Let's get a good shot here. He's starting to turn his hull, so I'm trying to set up in more of a side scrape position, although from this angle it's not going to be super easy to do. His tracks eat one. But that 140 I know isn't going anywhere. Take a shot from the T30. Probably not great, but now I know I have him on reload. And he just gets out of the way, which is unfortunate. It would have been an easy finish here. But both of them are actually playing pretty well, besides probably camping for so long in the T30. Although that's not a terrible spot when red has a bunch of mediums. So the 140 has now come out. And a much better shot. I'm not really sure why he moved from the position he was in unless he was going to flank me. Obviously wasn't going to let him camp, but now I take my time to aim because I figure I can afford to trade a shot. He's not going to be able to kill me. And now the T30 barreling in. I'm just hoping to reload. I actually at this point think I've lost, but luckily I'm able to sneak that shell in there. So not necessarily my cleanest game ever, but took a lot of awareness and kind of really having to flip back and forth between two tanks to work it out. Not the biggest mastery either, but I still think of it as a pretty successful game, even though I lost quite a bit of health at the end, so just wanted to share it. So, alright, thanks a lot, guys.